Hey, it is 5:31 Eastern Time. I'm Dave Woven. You're not with us today on Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk. The always lovely Jen Woodruff, the homeschooling mom, and Paul Riley, who you all know from patriotshit.com. So immediately after the Boogie with the Bull broadcast, go to patriotshit.com, buy your shit, and get off.
Kind of like the Walmart greeter, get your shit and get out.
That's right. Over in the background, the executive producer Delilah's here watching the set to make sure that everything is secure. And let's see, we're live on the Dave Woven profile, the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group, Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And if you follow me on Twitter at BoogieWTBull, we're live. We're live there too. Watch it in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group, and that way you'll come up on the live producer screen. It'll be a lot easier to make sure everybody becomes a part of the broadcast. So, Jen, opening comments?
Yeah, I was just excited to talk about today when we see the news and what's going on in the stock market and everywhere else. It looks like everything is falling apart, and it's a very depressing time, and people are not secure, and I get it. They're trashing everything. When I say they are, I'm talking about the deep state or the regime that we're dealing with right now, and it does look like they are failing at everything they're trying. But I would like to suggest that perhaps everything is not falling apart but falling together. So I was hoping we could shed some light on what's going on instead of just complaining about it.
Okay. And,
which is good. But
it's very good.
Yeah.
Paul Riley is here because Boogie with the Bull broadcasts are within therapy range.
Yeah.
They're covered by most insurance companies, including SSDI, Medicare, and whatever, and whoever else cares.
Well, when he was talking about how they're failing, it really is just a matter of perspective, though, because if you're on the other side of the table, I bet it doesn't look like failure. I bet it looks like the pieces are falling right into place.
Oh, very good. They planned.
It only looks like they're failing on our side, but if you're on the other side of the table, economic collapse, if that's the agenda to begin with, then they're doing just fine at it, because our economy is in fact falling apart. It's been falling apart for a long time, but over the last couple of months, it's really accelerated. And who was to figure that the bigger banks were going to start failing? After they wrote a free pass for these smaller banks to surpass their FDIC insurance amounts, that don't worry about it, you're just going to be covered. We'll write a blank check on the taxpayer's dime. Why wouldn't the big banks go ahead and let themselves fold up too? We'll go ahead and just let Uncle Sam pay us off and keep us in business too. The taxpayers will carry the burden, just like they have for every other industry that was too big to fail. And here we are. So, I mean, from that perspective, it actually looks like they're doing just fine, and we're not doing so hot as far as the economy goes, because I know my buying power has shriveled up into almost nothing. I don't know about yours.
No, you're right. It's ridiculous. Our federal income tax return was $83, and it was frustrating. And so Randy Rhodes, who was supposed to be on the show, says, "What did you do when you got your federal, income tax check back, when you got your refund?" And I said, "I went to the store and I bought eggs, milk, and bread." That's all I said. I'm sure I got a bag of rice, or a big Costco big box.
I mean, it's $7 a dozen. You didn't buy very many eggs with that check.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
If you bought gas to get there, if you had to buy gas to get there, you didn't buy but just maybe a half a gallon of milk and a carton of eggs, and you were done.
You're right.
And being in Idaho where Jen is, they get potatoes for free anyway.
As good as that sounds, I doubt it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, they're not.
But,
She
I
probably
read
has
in
to
the-
pay double there.
somebody sent me a post and I scanned over it. I really didn't read it, but evidently it was Janet Yellen saying that the Fed is looking into buying silver.
No.
They've already bought up most of the gold.
Right. So I'm figuring that that's the only reason they would do it is so that they can control the value of silver, which people who can't afford to buy gold are buying right now, or some people are buying some of each.
Well, the reality is, unless you're very well off, you can't buy enough gold and silver right now to do you any good anyway. I mean, let's face it, in a STHF situation, you can't eat gold and you can't eat silver. And the only people that would want such things are the same people that are trying to destroy our economy right now.
Yep.
My precious metals are lead and brass.
Yep. William Rayfield was on with, I think Jen was on. And he, yeah, you were on, Jen, when he said, you know, what do I do with that gold bar when I'm in the drive-through lane at McDonald's and I get up to the cashier and I got to give him the $2 for my number 11 and I hand them a gold bar. What are they going to do?
Well,
and I said, make sure you ask the franchisee for the title to the restaurant and your change. Good afternoon, Mr. Michael Anthony.
Check. Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Michael.
Here you line of Charlie.
All right. Yeah. Hey, what are you going to do with that gold bar? They sound great. And then what are you going to do if the gold falls and you're holding on to $250,000 in gold? That's a big concern. And, you know, the other thing is, too, everybody has to keep in mind, if you don't support the small banks right now, the ones who are in the private sector, you're going to collapse them by removing all the money.
Yep.
We are in a catch-22 that nobody's really thinking about here, but I do. Keep that in mind. If you take the money,
keep in mind, though, really, is if running to the bank and pulling your money out right now does you no good at all, because just like Michael said, you're going to further the collapse of the small banks. But when the banks do collapse, the paper that you retrieved isn't going to be worth anything anyway. So all you did was create a continuation of the bank run and ended up with a pile of paper that you still can't go buy anything with because it costs $50,000 for a loaf of bread now.
Now, are credit unions any safer than banks? We just happened to, when we moved,
same criminals, just different color clothes.
We just happened to pick a bank that was a credit union that was convenient to us. But, you know, that's the big question that I have is, you know, if the big banks collapse, will the credit unions eventually collapse too?
The government's going to buy the big banks out. We're about to see the privatization of the economy. They're going to privatize it. The government's going to bail everybody out, and we'll see the issuing of that whole digital currency that everybody's been freaking out about for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
It's here. By the end of the year, I would imagine it'll be here.
Reset. Not new world order, but reset of the agenda.
Right, it's here.
Reset.
Yeah. You talked about that for a long time, Michael. When you know.
Man, 2 years ago, I told everybody, get ready. It will happen. Bitcoin will fail. It did. And I know it's still out there, but it's struggling.
Yeah.
The money's not there the way it is.
No.
People aren't infiltrating Facebook and posting investments everywhere. But there are some things out there that are good. The problem is, do you want to trust and support where the money's good? Because you're supporting the New World Order. Yeah. So if you want to stick your money into where they're putting their investments, that's where to go. That's the only place to go right now. Same as when Trump was when he was in office. Anybody that followed his strategical moves, invested behind him, became wealthy. And you know, he didn't have to tell anybody. It was up to people to realize it. And
right.
But we're in the same position now.
Is he his own bank? That's what I've always wanted to ask. I mean, does he have not that he'd tell us if it was on a broadcast, does he have a bank that is holding all of his money, or is he his own his own bank.
He's working with countries, I'll tell you that, through Quantum, ISO 200022. If you look it up, that'll give you a lot of information. I talked to Charlie Ward a lot about this. Physically talked to him, all right, because people question me, did you really talk? Yes, I have talked to him. But the point of the matter is this. There's a lot of countries who are not all in on this, and they are strategizing, as I said months ago, when basically Biden went to Iran and everybody else over there with all the oil, and they said your money's worthless. We're not going to sell you anything unless you can, pay us in rubles or pay us in gold. Otherwise, we're not selling you nothing. But of course, that wasn't within the agenda for Biden administration or anybody else in Washington to say we're worthless. But we are. We're not hearing it from our constituents on the right, but they know it. But if you say anything that's too big, you cause mass hysteria. And that's where we are. We're in a mass hysteria. And let's just go off the thing here. What if there's two sides fighting over something bigger on how to reflect to something? The reason I bring that up is when you think about all the narrations of the different 15-minute cities we're seeing, C40 and all these other ones. There's like 5 being named now, freedom cities under Trump. These are the future coming. Trump's even telling you this is our future. So you have to understand, we might be preparing for something more larger than anybody would ever expect. And I'm not going to get into what I think that is. This ain't the show for it. But I think we have a battle strategy going on between two different ideologies on how to get through something that's inevitable.
That's good.
What do you think, Jen?
It's terrifying, actually.
It is. That was a good
Yeah.
word. But no, there was a post I saw with this financial lady, and she said, if you want to be free, learn to be responsible for your freedom. And what she was encouraging people to do was to look up some kind of contract. What was it? I don't know, but she's saying that when the banks switch over to their cryptocurrency or whatever they're going to replace the dollar with, she's saying that you should have money to, cash dollars, your green and whites, to go pay your mortgage. Because once you pay with their cryptocurrency, you are like agreeing
Yes.
to go the crypto way. So she's saying you have to learn to save your money and use the green. But I'm saying the banks are not going to support the fiat system anymore. They're not going to know what to do with the money. And she says when they do that, they have just breached their contract. And I'm like, okay, that's good. You proved a point. But what? Who gets the house? If they breach the contract, is it null and void? Do you just get to keep your house without paying your fiat currency? What do they do? I didn't get the whole gist of what she was saying, but it's true. If you want your freedom, you have to take on the responsibility to own it or to know exactly what you're being free from. And I didn't get the connection there. What do you think, Michael? Or what do you think? Anybody? What if they do switch? How do you pay your mortgage?
Well, go ahead.
It'll be a bank buyout. The banks will buy the mortgage companies out. It'll just be as simple as a new bill will start showing up. You'll either accept the digital currency or you'll default on your loan, and men with guns will show up to escort you off the property.
Wow.
I mean, that's how it is now. I mean,
Right.
There's so many rights that are available to us now that if you don't pay the tax man, if you don't pay Uncle Sam for your permission slip to be able to enjoy that right, then, somebody's going to come and take that right away from you. And they almost always have a gun on and are willing to kill you if you resist them. If you drive without a license and you resist arrest, they will ultimately kill you over that. Whether you believe you have the right to travel or not, whether you believe that you shouldn't be allowed to be forced into a contract with the state that you live in or not. It doesn't matter what you think, believe, or feel. You'll either play ball or guys with guns will come on and either you'll comply or you won't.
Comply or die.
Yeah, yeah, that's there's a lot of good points brought up there between everybody. So you can incorporate yourself, you can become an LLC. There are some strategies you could use, but nobody's giving proper etiquette on how to actually do it right now because nobody knows what to do. Even the investors don't.
Even if you file documents or papers, I mean, if the game is ruled and the guys that are in charge are ultimately demanding your compliance, is there any way to avoid that? Even, I mean,
not by rules of thumb.
Documents ain't going to change nothing if they don't want it to change.
Not by rules of thumb, exactly. That's why we have an injustice system with the justice system. We have two different diversities of how justice works. I don't know what to tell you really when it comes to the paper. Monetary is going to be like lost, without a love, like the old song used to go. These people were brilliant, and when I said a long time ago, believe in the unbelievable, these are part of those aspects of what I was talking about. That's why when I seen 401k starting to fill, I told everybody, do you think for a moment that these people don't know where the hot zones are? They did. They knew it, but yet they allowed the money in their investments to fail purposefully. They were part of the agenda of everything going on. They want, as Trump said, the truth of the matter is he stood between them and us. We no longer have him standing between them and us. It's us against them. It's government against the people, people against the government. We know what the corruption's about. There's no pure way to walk out of this. None. And if you bought gold, great. If you need to cash it in and they're in charge and this new currency takes place, they can kill the gold market. The same as they killed the housing market. Back when 9/11 hit, now, I mean, it will just be a repeat. Hey, Plato, lay down. But no, it's true. So, I mean, look, I could give guidance the best that I've been told, but there is no one telling anything that has any structure to it. Everything is at a risk.
I think that it behooves you if you're in a position to pay off your mortgage. I think that would buy you a little bit more time between the complete oppression and being forced to buy into the digital currency. I mean, it would buy you time because you can default on credit cards. Who cares? But if you default on your mortgage, people are going to come and get that from you at some point. Yeah, so if you have the ability, if you have that gold, if you've been that person that's been buying gold and silver, you might want to think about liquidating that into cleaning out your debt and possibly replacing it with lead and brass, because in an SHTF, that's going to be way more valuable to the people out there than that gold and silver will ever be.
Yeah,
that's good.
There are other minerals that will come into a different type of value point structure. There's no doubt about that. And infrastructure won't stop because, again, if you think about what they want to do, I mean, we have 140 cities right now who signed on for infrastructure just for the 15-minute cities. So if your money's behind that somehow structurally on paper, you'll probably do well. I was lucky. I bought shitholes, fixed them up, made them look great. I never once used a mortgage against anything. I own everything I have. And I won't even try to, I wanted to sell it and walk away from everything 2 years ago. And I started to think to myself, really, is that what I want to do? I mean, because actually brick and mortar might be the safest zone. It's not going to be land quantity because they're going to take land quantity from people.
Brick and mortar can still barter.
Yes, to some degree it can. And the whole bartering system, you're right. I talked about that too. I says, how's everybody going to feel like the guy on the block that everybody took their car to for $50 threw a set of front pads on the car, brake pads. I mean, what do you do now? Hand them a chicken? I'm going to give you a dozen eggs. I'm going to give you a dozen eggs once a week for 52 weeks. Well, I mean, I would put on somebody's brakes for that, but we are going to wind up going into a dark time. That is the darkness, that 10-day shadow of darkness. That is going to be part of the ill effect of it, as well as I foresee them trying to turn on mass confusion on us by actually turning on all the buttons and whistles to control the weather. They're going to try to accumulate ways to put people in more fear, to get them to say, hey, look, you have no choice. We need to do this. They're going to force people in fear and tell them that these buildings will save their lives into the future. They will protect them from weather elements, and everything's just a lie. And they have accumulated so many lies, and so many people have fell into them. And nevertheless, here we are. But there's no good answer for anything. Nobody out there, I don't care what platform you're on, and Hannity's not going to talk about it. Tucker's not going to talk about it. None of the greats of the voices out there who really get all the millions and millions of views are going to talk about it, because they don't know what to expect from it.
It'll scare the shit out of people.
It really would. It really would. And Trump's not going to tell anybody how bad it's. I know he is telling people. He's starting now to give a different vibration.
Very cryptic about it, though.
Right. I wanted to ask you specifically, when you're talking about lead and brass, are you talking about the minerals, or are you talking about the bullets you can make with them?
I'm talking about components to make ammunition with. You know, every time we've seen a panic go on in America over the last 20 years, the first thing that happens is everybody runs out and buys up every piece of ammunition they can get their hands on. And then they follow that up with going out and buying every primer, powder, piece of brass, projectile that they can get their hands on to be able to reload more with. The person that trades their gold and silver in for lead, brass, primer, and powders will have a tremendous levered bargaining tool when it comes to barter. When the economy completely collapses. You know, you're talking about changing brakes for a couple dozen eggs. What would you do for a 50 count box of 223?
Well, you shouldn't be in that position. You should have 1,100 boxes of them already somewhere in your basement. We've had enough time. I mean, you know, we've been out on the air for the past 2.5 years screaming at the top of our lungs, prepare yourself. And in some ways we were wrong on. And I never gave a date and time, because I never thought theoretically we could ever give one. I was watching what Trump did. I was watching what our advisors were doing. And we still don't know what to do, because no one is willing enough to come out and say how bad it can get. But I don't think that even the good side, Trump's side, our side, you know, Team Red, all that, none of us have the answers to know. But we are going to run into these things. So one of the things that you brought up about, you know, gun manufacturers, you know, making ammo companies. Do you know how many ammo companies got bought out by the rich government side of the government in the last 2 years? You're damn right. We're lucky we have 7 to 10% left. And there's going to be such a backlog. They won't. It sounds feasible and good, but all minerals are. But you know, it's just not enough. They weakened that point.
You can't even buy lead in America anymore. There's about to be a huge shortage of lead in the United States under the Obama regime. He banned the APA banned the manufacturing of new lead. So all of the lead that comes from goes to the United States now comes from, would you like to take a guess where?
China.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, we're over here about picking a fight with the guys that we buy our ammunition from.
Same with all the recycled steel. I mean, but here, that was the opening door. You know, it truly was the same as it's same as like I've always talked about conditioning. How do they condition? Well, there's so many ways of telling you how they've done it. It's pathetic, you know, and giving examples there's a huge amount of examples. But strategy of what was to come was always in place. And only the ones who looked into the past and studied into the future, current future, understand where they were. I'm lucky enough to be one of them. But I got to tell you, even with my background, and I'm not saying I'm great, I'm not. But with everything that I've done, I still can't calculate 50% of what's going on.
It's too big. There's too many moving pieces to it. It's all around the world. It's from the township trustees all the way up to the president's office. I mean, every corner, every aspect, the banks, the media. I mean, you've got the media acting as the fourth branch of government these days. You know, I mean, all they do is feed you government-sponsored propaganda. Every single thing that they say on mainstream media is just an absolute bold-faced lie. It's to the point now to where when the weatherman comes on, I have to go outside and verify what he's telling me, because I just don't believe anything you guys say anymore.
And the truth is, they lie about that.
Right. I think they get their weather from the weather bug because, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just about the same level of accuracy.
Right. I wanted to ask you all, have you heard? I haven't looked at other countries'
The bird is the
papers,
word. Yeah.
but are there other countries that are experiencing the same phenomenon of the train derailments as the United States of America is every day? This used to be such a rare thing, and all of a sudden they're trying to normalize it.
The
This is
Netherlands.
ridiculous. Pardon me?
It's always
The
been that
Netherlands.
bad.
Oh, okay.
It's always been that bad. We're just now starting to pay attention to it. People are, there happen to be a couple of convenient ones, but as far as I can tell, there's always been just shitloads of train wrecks because nobody really pays attention to it. The majority of them happen in areas that nobody just really cares about, out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I've actually posted 3 videos on Rumble where I've went and investigated, excuse me, my local tracks. The maintenance, at least on these local tracks, the ones around my house are so poor that there's no mystery to me why the trains are wrecking. The government's pumping money into the train industry through subsidies. The train industry is leasing the tracks out to third-party companies that don't get the subsidies and are at the mercy of their budgets to keep the tracks up. And the Norfolk Rail and CSX and all those big companies give themselves raises and buy themselves new yachts and pay lobbyists to keep the inspectors off their back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you follow that money trail of what you're talking about under the new administration, you can see who benefited from money with the money. And it was all the sectors that didn't even need it. It all went to the wealthier or the blue state representation. $715 million to Michigan, 400 to Key West, 400 Silicon Valley, $400 million. One of the richest platforms out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want to talk red and black, but they didn't do anything to really go into the areas that help anybody. They don't.
Absolutely
and
not.
As far as the train wrecks, you're right. However, I've never actually followed how many wrecks have happened or mismanagement of wrecks. You only hear about the ones that are more or less catastrophic. So I would assume there's incidental things. There's always somebody crossing railroad tracks, a car gets hit, a person, those kind of things. Yeah, I always seen the light of day on. And not to say that there was a tonnage of them, but Netherlands, just so you know, there was an area issue up there where they had toxic problems and issues up there. And you see what they did to that poor fire chief in East Palestine? They blamed him for the implosion, saying that he gave the permission to blow. It wasn't his
had
call.
That kind of authority.
No, it wasn't his call to make it. And I still would love to know who the hell, come on, realistically. But I think, here we are, Jen, Dave, and
Paul.
Therapy Rage. Range. I don't know. My eyes totally.
His name is Paul. Paul.
I see your face before, brother. I apologize, man. I do. I apologize. The only thing we can do at this point is expect more, fight it the best way we can, because we don't have enough constituents in Washington to take everything on. We just don't. There's nobody there to do enough of the work. They need thousands of us in every position of every authority of government for every state, helping them to go through it. And if you even did that, there's nobody in the upper branch in the Supreme Court that can handle enough of the cases. So we're not going to see any daylight here.
Man.
No, man, they're running us right off the cliff. Just grab onto something and hold on tight because we're going whether you want to or not.
And, like I used to tell people, honestly, I didn't mean to be ignorant, but I didn't know how to get to people, and I still don't know how to get to people. But I said something last night on my show. I says, if one ear hears me, that makes the difference.
Well,
so maybe one ear heard me, one ear woke up. I don't know. And maybe not, because what he just said is the case scenario. And it's going to affect the psychology of people. Yeah, even to the point where you might wake up tomorrow and you have no internet service for 2-3 weeks just because they said so. And they can't say so.
Now, when you get into the psychology of the human mind, you really start understanding why it's so easy for the masses to keep their heads buried in the sand. Because when you start learning the things that everybody on this chat knows to be true, it's, excuse my language, but it's fucking horrifying. It's just absolutely horrifying when you read the MK Ultras and when you read, do the deep dives into the deep state and all these horrifying things. And then when the moment of realization comes that everything from the bottom to the top, from the left to the right, is corrupted 100% all the way through, there's so very few beams of sunshine breaking through this cloud.
Right.
Just like he said, we need a multitude of people coming in on board with the right mentalities and the backbone to say no and the willingness to possibly even, to be Epstein. Don't think that if you push against this deep state too hard that you just won't get gone. If you create a loud enough voice, if you create a loud enough movement, they'll January 6 your ass or Epstein your ass. You'll end up in a federal prison or just, hey, what happened to that guy?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
after
This
about 2
is
weeks, they won't even talk about you no more because the
right.
psychology of Americans is about 5 seconds long.
Wow. Okay, this is ridiculous. I just wanted to know what you thought. Pure conspiracy. I just think that it's true. Do you think that Epstein is still alive?
Don't
Uh,
care.
excellent. The only reason why I'm asking is because of those two banks that I was referring to before the show started, the JP Morgan and the Silicon Valley Bank. Which is probably, I hear that it's not even a bank, it's more of a casino. But those two, the JP Morgan Chase and the Silicon Valley Bank, are huge contributors to Epstein's Island. And I'm like, and they do the money laundering to get there through Meta, which is Zuckerberg's. And I'm thinking, wow, this is so evil and planned out through Facebook, which changed their name to Meta to go right to Epstein Island, and that Zuckerberg himself is known to groom and traffic women and children through Facebook. And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
look
oh
at his
my gosh.
haircut.
What did you say?
Anybody that has a haircut that looks like that has got to be grooming kids.
Creepy. I know. That's
No, I
funny.
mean, it's totally possible. I mean, everyone thinks to fake a death that there has to be some giant conspiracy. I mean, with the right amount of money, you can get people with low morals to say anything you want them to say. And man,
True.
there's a lot of people with low morals out there. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they didn't fake his death and move him out to his island and just told him to shut the fuck up. Be
Business
quiet.
as
You can't
usual.
be seen no more. If anybody finds out you're alive, we really will disappear you.
Wow.
You will. Hey, I just wanted to tell anybody watching that we're live on YouTube on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, over on Twitter if you follow at BoogieWTBull, on American Patriot Social Network. We're in the Hardcore Conservatives group. Over on Streetlock, we're in the news feed, and on Gab, we're in live now on the Boogie with the Bull group. And with us today are Michael Anthony, Paul Riley, Jen Woodruff, the homeschooling mom, who's also an admin of most of our groups, the admin that keeps us all functioning. As admins,
I thought she was the political conspiracist.
Jen Woodruff,
today.
Jen Woodruff is the political conspiracist, and
but you're right. It's all psychological warfare, and boy, they've done an outstanding job. I don't want to give them credit for anything, but that's my feeling.
I bet they're shocked at how well it's
show
worked.
me a body. You can talk what you did, but show me the body. They will never show us any, even on 9/11 and all that weapons of mass destruction bullshit, which was all a lie. They didn't go there for that. They went there for other things, and I'm not the show for it, but it had to do with their bloodline and things of that nature. Didn't have nothing to do with weapons of mass destruction because 2 remote control planes may have hit a building. But again, when you look at the factors, they can never show you a body. No matter who they claim they have taken out. Now, if you go on the one that Trump took out, there's video footage of it. But when you get to the ones that Bush was handling and Obama was handling, there was never nobody. Oh, we buried him at sea. That was that was according to his religion. It wasn't according to his religion. He lied blatantly to everybody. The same as when he sat in that schoolroom the morning of 9/11, and just so happened that the message was to the world who was watching, the blue and the yellow scarves who kneeled, and I post. You can't even put that picture up no more. But I mean, it said plane hit building. And these kids were saying it out loud. Then suddenly Bush gets told that we're under attack, and blah blah. It's all a bunch of horse crap. And
jet fuel is not going to knock down a building.
No,
the next one and another. Yeah.
And the steel structure, it doesn't work. And building 7 so far away, no missing plane parts, a hollow fuselage destroyed half a third of the Pentagon. Please,
right?
You know what I mean? It didn't even penetrate the other side. It was a missile that hit, as far as I'm concerned, according to what I have on video footages. Again,
the only video footage I ever saw made it look like a freaking missile that they were trying to tell me was a plane.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at me lie right in front of your face. You got to believe me, though. I'm the media.
I read a post yesterday on Streetlock, and I'll get it and send it to all of you. That basically, I forget the guy's name, but he's a former FBI investigator that I guess appears to be one of the good guys. And he, through various, freedom of information accesses that he had, published some declassified documents that included the belief that the CIA was responsible for recruiting the Saudi Arabian hijackers of the plane that went into the Capitol.
Of course they were.
As well as couldn't name the actual agents. The agents were referred to their code names so that they couldn't be identified. Although later in this article, most of those FBI agents outed themselves, and it basically became the FBI accusing the CIA of doing a domestic operation based on working, I guess, with Saudi Arabian intelligence. And all I can tell you is it's one of those connect the dot reads if you're someone like me that basically gave you all the dots, and if you went and connected all the dots and keep connecting all the dots, it's fascinating reading.
Not long after 9/11, there was a piece that I got to see. It's been scrubbed from the internet now, along with so much other information. Yep. But the 3 or 4 of the hijackers were detained as they came into the country. And men in black suits showed up, and shortly thereafter, they were released to go on about their business. Well, later on, they went and freaking flew planes into the world.
Well, supposedly these 2 that took down the American Airlines plane into the Pentagon, they evidently were recruited, I guess, and when they got to America, they were turned over to an imam who in San Diego, California, who they basically worked with, who eventually got them recruited. And I believe that imam was
they're all alive, Dave.
Out in some kind of a drone. They're
all alive. I hear where you're at.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I got to disagree, but in a good way. This is with respect. First off, this is a Bush. It's the one no one talks about. He was the one that ran all the security for every buildings with the canine dogs that went missing 3 weeks prior so they could implant all the bombs. The end of story.
Wow.
End of story.
And laced the building with dynamite. What was the it was a weird dynamite. Yeah.
Thermite. Thermite. Okay. Now, to go a little further, I'll let you finish, Dave. Go ahead. Because
go ahead.
Well, look, people from these countries came to Congress and exposed the fact that the alleged people who flew these planes into the buildings were in their countries alive, living, still flying planes.
Wow.
Okay.
It's the video, right? It's record, but we did nothing with it.
Right.
Like every other thing that happens, nothing
Like
happened.
the Twitter files, nothing happens.
Right.
Well, in 2024, maybe we'll see a whole different narrative of, as Trump says, I will be back, but this time as a law enforcer, as the president of the United States. The thing is this, the struggle that we're going to have to face, the brick walls we're going to hit, the lockdowns, and now what I think we're going to have a bacteria release, and it possibly may have been already. It's not going to be like anything that we went through that, the woo and who and whatever you want to call these people are now coming out and even saying, the WEG even said the other day, it seems to me just to be just a case of influenza, like a flu. We may have done things, but we were concerned. We had concerns. Well, of course you have concerns. And then you have videos out there where Fauci says on one side of the video, I never told President Trump to shut down the country. And on the other video, when he did it, he did it is right there. Again, Rand Paul's been doing a really good, piece of work on this. But again, where's that even got us? We have great constituents up there fighting for America. They can't get anything done.
Right. Well, I have to go soon, but I just wanted to end on a good note and say point for Trump. I guess his indictment did not go through, and that was wonderful. And it had two reasons. The prosecutor is paid for by George Soros to take him down and to just besmirch his legacy. And it didn't work because his lawyer pointed out that it's not in his jurisdiction to go after this case with Stormy Daniels. And also he was hiding information. I wonder what kind of information that was. Probably that Stormy Daniels said she did not have an affair with him back in 2011. And then let's see, there was one more thing to it that was a good point for the good guys. I don't even know anymore. But hopefully
we're here. Go ahead. Think and take your time.
Take your time, Jen.
No, hopefully he gets cleared of that. Hopefully this was a nothing burger as far as the Stormy Daniels case goes.
Well, it was obviously a nothing burger.
Yeah, it was stupid. Now I do know something else, and I didn't talk about it because I don't want them to come up with it. But didn't he? I know. My channel.
I'm so skeptical of what's true and what's not anymore that I'm leaning over here like, well, if they're cutting him loose on it, then they're giving us exactly what we wanted for a reason. Why? What's the reason?
To manipulate us and think he's the good guy. Oh God, who knows what he could do? I know. We're so manipulated. Anyhow,
like Michael was saying, man, I mean, the government, the people behind the curtain, they could have never imagined their results would have been this good. You could have never pictured it. There's no way to calculate that Americans would have bought in to all this bullshit, hook, line, and sinker, all the way up to the bobber.
Right. Michael, we were talking before you came on. I was saying it was great that everything they're doing is failing. And then Paul brought up the point, exactly. That's exactly what they meant to do. And I was like, stop it. No, I'm kidding, Paul. You're awesome. It's true. They meant to crap the whole nation. And look at the
This has to be by design. You've got the most brilliant people in the world in D.C. People, the four of us could absolutely run this government better than all of those clowns that they have in D.C. So this has to be by design. Nobody will ever convince me that all of this BS is falling into place just by pure chance.
Right.
No, it's not. And that's why documents were written 125 years ago by John Rockefeller that even it led the path to this. And the other document that came back out from another one of his bloodline, and it was called Project Lockstep. And voila, this is it. This is it. Just like, and then if you go on Jesse Ventura, that great doctor, I won't mention her name because you cannot mention her name met him on a tarmac, told him this would happen, and it happened. I mean, look, for the people who were really involved in conspiracy type things, or just had the energy to want to know more, those are the ones that actually are more well aware of what's going on and how this plays suit. This think tank is called the Illuminati, without a doubt. And remember, when every president becomes president, all right, remember, he has to go and see what? His board of directors, because he's only the president.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the board of directors? Who are the board of directors?
The Vatican and the Parliament.
The Vatican, the king, the queen, the postmaster general is the king, which is again, a lot of people don't even realize it. The post office is owned by them.
Charles.
That's why they had no mandate. They got waived. Oh, the post office doesn't need no vaccinations for those guys.
Wow.
But no, that's the postmaster general. It does go under the law of war. What they fundamentally put out in 2016, I call it the Washington's Blue Book in the Art of War, and they published it. But it goes deeper than that, and it really does. And you have to go into the past and bring it out. Everything that they attacked has to do with commerce, laws of the water. Same as birthing mothers. Why do we need birthing mothers?
No more parenting. Biologist.
Well, I mean, no, we look at it as a way that we should, with common sense. Jen, you gave birth, you're a mother. They're saying, no, you're a birthing person. Why? Because the child becomes property of the water. Your water breaks, the child is delivered. The package is delivered by what? And to where? To the dock. Where's the water go? Into the current, the currency, where the riverbeds lie, river banks, the banks. Get it? This is all a strategy. It's ancient strategy, and they're using it. And you have to study ancient strategy. I do. And again, it would blow your mind if I could manipulate you with every planet, what it means. The sun. I put on a post the other day. I got up early to watch the sun rise between the two mountains. I did not. I was telling everybody what their mission is, because they posted on flags everywhere, and all the countries have new flags now that represent two mountains as two pyramids with the sun coming up through. And that's, again, it goes into the ancient times to understand it all. It's a true fact. But from the time of birth, as Jonathan Garcia always said, and he was right, from birth to death, cradle to death, you're inside this slavery system. But everything that they did that we witnessed, you remember when the boats couldn't come to port to unload? And then they stopped the commerce? What was the commerce? The truckers? Right. Think about this. This is maritime law. They're working a different side of law, corporate law.
And that's a deep rabbit hole right there that you're going down. We ain't got time to get into that one, but I like that topic. I'm actually pretty well versed in the straw man and all that, the sovereign citizen straw man.
We don't have time, but we need to break it down into a bunch of broadcasts that we have time to do. And I know, Michael, that is a nightmare for you, but it is something.
Getting people to wrap their minds around it is pretty challenging, because you're challenging everything that they've ever been taught and educated on, that they've been lied to. Yep. You know, from the time that you were old enough to understand that you were a free person. You weren't a free person. You were a slave. You were a slave at the moment of your birth.
Exactly. Never free. You were always under their thumb, even while Trump was in office.
This is the famous 39, 40 point talking points that a friend of mine who on Facebook is not political at all posted this one day, and it's the background of the whole we still belong to England thing with the all the executive orders footnoted, the cases, court cases footnoted, where to go and read. But yeah, unfortunately, to do that in one broadcast would probably be 164,000 hours. So we break it up when we get the people together. And I got to tell you, if you're watching Boogie with the Bull, this is probably one of the best Boogie with the Bull broadcasts that I have done. And I got to say, it's got 3 of my all-time favorites on it. And even though this is Paul's first one, this is
You're
one
my favorite. Yeah.
one of my favorite panels.
You're a new favorite, Paul.
Jen drinks her coffee, but she knows her history. And Paul wants to get you to go to the gun range wearing stuff from patriotshit.com.
Well, now, really, I just want people to open their minds up and recognize that they've been lied to. Everything. And still, the lies continue to keep coming.
And I've known Michael Anthony on Facebook now for 3 years, and he's been 3 years before I met him. I was already 3 years behind him. So,
yeah, the Patriot Shit Outfitters is really just a vehicle to get me to where I can be able to spread the information and have the freedom to talk to people and not be worried about the electric bill.
Good.
Did I ever tell you, Michael, that 10 growing up was one of my favorite numbers, and the first cab medallion I got in Waltham, Massachusetts was number 10, and the last cab I drove, the guy that owned the 10 cab in Watertown called me up one day. He had to go to a funeral, and he asked me if I could drive his cab. The last cab I drove before I quit driving cabs was the 10 cab in Watertown. So
wow. Dave, I love the piece that we did a long time ago, and this whole show reminded me of it, The Wizard of Oz, and the characters that Dorothy came across on the Yellow Brick Road, being the straw man, the tin man, and the lion. And we all have to be the lion. We just don't know that we have the courage in us. But it was a really good piece. And the more we talk about the straw man, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a scarecrow. And then we talk about the tin man, which stands for tax ID number. I mean, all he does is work until he freezes up, and that's
we should bring that history lesson back on a broadcast that you're capable of doing, and Michael and Paul, if you're interested. The great thing about doing Jen's history lessons is that she presents most of it in like 15 minutes, the core stuff that you need to know, and then we spend another 45 minutes just questioning it from every angle and discussing it. So yeah, Jen, if you want to do that, we can plan one of them. Tuesday night, there is no Boogie with the Bull broadcast because we don't do Tuesday. Michael Anthony will be somewhere on Roku TV, I believe, sometime tomorrow. And if he posts it, we'll make sure it gets into all the groups. I don't know if Roku TV channels can stream to Facebook or not, but I'll learn that. I'll learn that technology. But Michael, I'm sure, will at least produce a post of it with his servers, and we'll make sure everybody gets to see it. Jen's got to take off.
My mission has always been to collect and gather.
Yep. Just about now. It's coming up on 6:30. Jen's got to take off because she is in the Jen Woodruff Square on the Hollywood Squares broadcast, which I call the Great American.
What did Michael say?
The Hollywood American Square Show.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to call it the Hollywood Squares because for a long time, Jerry used the screen format
from somebody.
Jerry made it look like the Hollywood Squares, although people used to say they thought it looked like the Brady Bunch.
It looked like the Brady Bunch.
But
I'm like, I don't want to be Alice.
I used to call it the Hollywood Squares, and then just before I started,
you could curl that hair up and get your Alice on.
Before I started,
she cooks and cleans.
Before I started,
I mean, it's good. It's just
before I started coming on to the Great American Rebellion, they were still using the Hollywood Squares screen, and I always wanted to be the Paul Lynde Square, the center square, but no. So make sure you watch the the American Rebellion over on the American Rebellion blogger page or on Rumble tonight, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And kind of like this broadcast was today. Everybody talks. They all talk about what's going on in their lives, what's going on in our lives, and how we need to do it. And like I said, you usually catch Jen Woodruff there, along with Nikki Young, Jerry Michaels, Robert Lawless, the Minnesota Madman, when he's not off touring, and a lot of other people.
In the corner, Daryl.
Daryl Rector. Daryl Rector. And if you got an iPad that you're thinking about recycling, contact Daryl. He does that. He does that. But Jen, if you got a part, you got to go. And if the rest of us want to continue till 7, we can. Otherwise, we can tie it up and we can agree to meet.
Again sometime.
We can meet on Friday. On Friday, Michael's going to join me on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And I don't know if.
I guess somebody has to help you out, brother.
I'll
do my best. I'll do my best.
No, I couldn't do all the live shares on Facebook and everywhere else. We managed to get on if I'm by myself. So
no, it's hard. I get it. I mean, I've had help.
Just send me the links if I'm available. I'll get on.
I'll send you the link, and Friday
should be available, but I'm not 100%.
That's okay. And Friday night it's open door. The Friday free for all. Anybody who can show up. Jen can't show up because it's either date night or it's family night. I can't remember. Friday and Saturday. One is date night. One is date night, and one is Saturday night. And poof. And there's Michael Anthony. And there's Michael Anthony, who the best way you can follow his broadcasts on Facebook is to go to the Michael Anthony with the red, white, and blue 10 o'clock talks logo profile picture, become his friend. Read his page. You'll find plenty of stuff on his page to share. And you'll get notified when he is on. And Paul Riley, who is guest co-host of Therapy Range.
I am the host of Therapy Range.
Guest co-host of this broadcast and rumored to be on several others throughout the internet.
Every once in a while, you can catch me on the Freeman Report.
Okay.
And then right here with Boogie with the Bull, as often as I have the time to be available.
One of these days, I hope to do Boogie with the Bull myself, but I understand the guy that runs the show is pretty bullheaded, so he only wants the best. We did invite Jonathan Garcia, who is watching, but he's always so busy that he ends up watching a lot more and commenting than he can, but he's always welcome. We'll try to get Mac McGregor on in the next coming weeks. For those of you who follow Angie May Yu and the Patriot Rally in the Valley events, she has one in October, and we'll try to get her in a few times. Soup Mama official Charisse was on with us Saturday talking about the East Palestine donation drop, which is over in Nagel, Ohio, the city right next door at the Nagel Fire Department, and some of which was posted live in the groups. And hopefully we'll get her on to bring us up with what's going on that. And, I'm proud to announce that Michael Anthony is actually an admin in just about every group I have, and even one that I told him I was going to start that I hadn't started again. It's got a really profound name, and it'd just be a fun group for everybody to be involved with and share with. A total sarcastic group, which may hit in the next week or so. But gentlemen, if there isn't anything else, we'll.
It's hard to say, you've been in your rant, which is fine. I don't know. I mean, just, if anybody wants to reflect on anything that was said, please do it. I'll hang in for a few more minutes. It's not like we are going to be doing this all night. But again, Wednesday, I'll do my best. What time is that? 6 o'clock?
6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, I'll come to the table. I'll put together.
I mean, if it's easier, I can move it to 5 p.m. and we go until we end. But I want
to talk to you about where you do stream share to, because I got to try to help you really get a different focus of the groups.
Okay.
I mean, truly, there's no reason why I get thousands and you don't have but 3 people in the room. You got to talk to me tomorrow morning, and I'm going to give you some groups that really stand behind patriotic reporting, citizen journalist shit that we do. They really stand behind us, guys. Wherever group, you're sharing to. I'm just saying, I'm not being rude.
No. That group,
are dead.
That group, Citizen Journalists for the American People, which we started, Michael, yes, was New Military for the American People. That group, unfortunately, was so cross-linked in getting the 9 groups down to 4 groups that it was lost. And both Boogie with the Bull groups, the 445 member group and the 1,045 member group, were so crossed up in everything, they were lost too. That's why the public group was open. But yeah, you know me. Tell me, give me a list of groups that things need to be shared into, or
I'll get you invited into them, and that way you'll know exactly where to do
things that need help. If I understand your new Studio 10 broadcasting 10 o'clock talks group, if you need help with that, I am more than willing to be behind the scene. And I got to get any of you before you leave. You got to welcome the main man of broadcasts and all around good guy of home farming and grow towers. I understand now that the Jonathan Garcia autographed growth towers are now available in the Red Mammoth Nation TV store on Facebook.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah. I'm coming out with some merch. So the hats and the shirts and everything like that are coming too. This is a shameless plug, but if you don't get your You've Been Told Red Mammoth hat, then you're missing out.
Well, the backside of the Boogie with the Bull t-shirt coming soon is available for rent for a reasonable fee. If people get me an iron-on transfer.
No sweat. Hey, look, guys, I enjoyed this one for sure.
Good. I'm glad.
And my little 2 cents that I was going to put out there was, if you haven't been looking, for everybody out there, Tennessee and Florida are just approving their gold-backed acceptance of currency. So, what would be a good thing to do if you want to fight against CBDC? Go ahead and start buying gold and silver coins if you can. Silver coins are a lot cheaper than gold right now per ounce. So, I mean, as soon as you can, if you want to fight back against the CBDC, that would be a really good way to do it. And start growing your own food. I had my first harvest of romaine lettuce and put it together a salad, and it rocked. Let me tell you. Yeah. The stuff that you make and then go straight from garden to the plate, can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Argue with that, man. Nothing tastes better than the food you grow yourself, whether it be chicken, eggs, cow, lettuce, tomatoes. I started making some cucumber or some pickles last year out of my garden. People went head over heels for them. I've sold about 4,000 jars so far.
Sweet. So, yeah, you can't beat it. That's how you got to do it.
We're going to have to start a broadcast maybe one night a week where we come on and allow all the celebrity admins to come on and market the merchandise. Michael Anthony will sell autographed pictures.
We all had to figure out a way of beating the system, man. I mean,
you do.
If you're that guy that's in the 9 to 5 grind and you ain't figured out yet that you can't get ahead that way, it's just a matter of time until you do. That's why we all find side hustles. And, like for me, I've turned one side hustle into a full-time gig that turned into another side hustle and another side hustle. just to be able to keep the wheels moving and have an opportunity to actually have even a fraction of the freedom that I'd like to have by not being a slave to a 9-to-5 job 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Yard sales and garage sales, you don't have to have permits, and they're tax free.
Yep.
Just so everybody knows.
That's not
So
true. Anything over $500 has to be and always had to be even if you had a guitar on the shelf. If you sold it for 10 grand because it grew in value, you had to claim that on your income tax. If you didn't, you violated, I think, Article 3132. But nevertheless, I'm not saying anything here. I'm just saying that's not true. Anything that's over 500 or 600, states will vary. That is, once you go over it, you are by law then considered a business, and you have to file business paper taxes on it.
Yeah. PayPal did.
Right.
yeah,
PayPal did
stick
that.
to lemonade.
Little kids with lemonade stands.
Yeah, stick to lemonade.
Right. PayPal did it with their Venmo card. Now, if you get a donation of $600, I mean a payment,
Right.
The federal government
or more,
the federal government passed
Venmo
that
has
law
to
now to
report
where
it to the
everybody has
IRS.
to do it.
Yeah, Cash App.
Yeah.
Cash App, PayPal,
Yep.
eBay. If you make over $600, you're paying taxes on it
Yep.
now.
That is what I'm telling you is anything you do as a side hustle.
Right.
Take
Your
cash
admittance,
only.
your admittance here is an admittance. So let's talk about admittance and who it protects. Not you.
Right.
But a guy like Hunter, it will protect. When he filled out his application, gun application, which was 4473, by lying on it, which he did in his own book, he admitted to being on drugs, lying, and more. And they won't do nothing to the guy. And a guy by the name of Wilcox from the ATF, when he was being questioned, he wouldn't answer it. So of course, you know, they're ridiculing him. They're coming down his throat, and they killed it. They killed it. You can't do this. You can't ask these questions because he's under special protections. But by him lying on that application 4473, and it's right in front of me here because I'm doing a little more homework on this. I mean, he basically outright lied on it, and he is subject to serving on each lie a penalty of 15 years. 15 years.
Oh, he's absolutely right. I filled out plenty of 4473s, and every single one of them has asked on there if you're an unlawful user of controlled substances.
Exactly.
And if you check yes, then they throw your application away and you can't buy a gun. And if you check no and you are, then you committed fraud.
Right.
Right. So here we are. This law is not going to protect us.
No.
So all I'm saying is when we talk, we got to utilize, things because someone's sharing the fact of that many numbers high in pickles. just in case you don't know. I mean, I'm waiting for them one day to kick my door in for all the shit that I've said.
Well, these items will be available with the full channel store for less than $600.
Yeah, as long as cash is not phased out, they have no way of getting it. So,
well, I mean, they have other ways to make chargeable felonies.
They got the rule book. They can change the rules as they see fit when they see
fit.
So if you
I won't have to worry
around,
about it because they can access my.
You might get stuck having to wipe Pelosi's ass for the rest of her life.
Well, what I'm saying is that
that would be hell in itself. Yeah,
zap me for something that I say on social media that they don't like. I'll be broke because they'll just take all.
I can testify to the fact that if you push too hard against the grain, the cops will show up at your house. They will search your shit illegally, and they will take it for granted that you're an idiot and don't know what you're doing, and will take your shit from you, put your ass in jail, and make you a felon, all illegally.
Well, you can ask Michael. I am an idiot, but I do know what I'm doing.
I've been a victim of that shit. I know for a fact they'll come right in your house and take your shit and fucking try to make you a felon. And an $800 lawyer can go in and smack their Peter around and remind them that they still have to have a warrant and due process and all of those things. So,
But
And that's
again,
all just because I was being politically loud. I got very loud over a topic locally here, and I got a lot of attention. 72,000 views in 24 hours.
Wow.
All
Wow.
the major gun groups came together and put together a push. There was a fairgrounds here that put up no gun signs.
Maybe I don't want you to drop me in all of those groups on Facebook, Michael, because I might get views, and then I'll be famous on Facebook.
In the state of Ohio, the fairgrounds are all subsidiaries of the Department of Agriculture. Yep. They all get money from the county and the state, which means that they cannot write rules that supersede laws. It's treated as public property, even though it's technically owned by the fair board. Because of where their money generation comes from, it's public property. So they can't write those rules. And I made it very well.
Now, is that true of all county fairs? Because I know
in the state of Ohio, there's 7 county fairs that does not apply to.
Okay, yeah, because in Woodstock, Connecticut, the county fair is on property that belongs to the farmer that owns the big farm, and
if he says no guns, then no guns.
Yeah,
private property.
Yeah, I don't imagine that he would say no, because there's just about every.
But in the other 91 or 81 counties in Ohio, 80 counties in Ohio, they don't have the legal authority to tell you no guns on that property.
Yeah.
And
I don't know about
I
the
gathered the
county fair
motivation
here
of the
in Florida,
people
whether or not they
to
do
press
that.
against them, and within 24 hours, we crashed their servers, we killed their phone lines, and had about 15,000 people that were ready to come and do open carry walks through the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And the following day, they cut all the signs down. Well, the day after that, the Claremont County Drug Enforcement Task Force flew a helicopter over my house and busted me for 5 little bitty teeny tiny marijuana plants that were growing in my backyard.
Wow.
They forced their way into my house and confiscated 32 firearms, wrote me up on 2 felonies. And, it was just as simple as going into court with a lawyer and reminding them that there's due process and all this good jazz. I got all my guns back. I got everything got squashed. But, it's just a perfect example of, if you get loud enough, there will be retribution.
Well, this is why I don't talk much on the broadcast, and I always invite people that know what they're talking about.
For everybody out there, if you want to learn how to grow your food indoors and out of the ground, go to Red Mammoth Nation TV.
Red Mammoth Nation TV.
Yep. That's the Facebook page. Or go to Red Mammoth Nation TV on YouTube.
Is that your page?
Yeah.
Are you on TikTok, Jonathan?
I'm sorry?
Are you on TikTok? Are you on TikTok, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm also on TikTok, but I don't really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How come you haven't set up a Rumble channel yet?
I already have. It's under Mr. John Garcia.
Yep.
Cool. I'll check you out on Rumble. I don't mess with YouTube no more. YouTube.
Well, I'm gonna move to Rumble just in case. I already know my next suspension will be very long on YouTube. I'll probably lose it.
Well, I don't have any content on Rumble just yet, but I will be posting very soon. So
you can go into your Rumble settings on a desktop and go over and sync your Rumble to your YouTube. So every time you upload to YouTube, it'll automatically send it over to Rumble for you.
Oh yeah. You embed a post. Even if YouTube cancels your video, say you post something that they don't want and they delete it, it'll stay on Rumble. Yeah. You can embed a post with the same link that when you're live on YouTube, it'll be live everywhere else. That's easy to do. I haven't done it just because I haven't made the time.
And Rumble pays you from day one. If you've got people that'll watch you, you can start collecting pennies from day one.
Yeah, that's my attraction to Rumble.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to get off here. I got to do some driving, y'all. But
all right, Jonathan, be safe.
It's good meeting you, bro. I'll check out your channel.
Yep.
All right.
You know you're welcome anytime you see me on, Jonathan, or you want to be on.
Yeah, usually I'm in the middle of either making grow towers or planting or in between life. So
Yep.
it's all good. Free people don't ask permission.
Yep.
So,
I'm actually going to try this time to be in Loganville May 13th for Lucretia Hughes's Faith Over Fear rally.
good.
This
That'd
time
be a good
I think
event.
I'm actually going to be there.
Hey, Jonathan, I hope everybody down in Georgia as well, if you're putting out any posts, I know it's been having a lot of different types of activities and tornadoes and all that kind of shit. So,
yeah. Very interesting stuff going on.
You're good down there.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
No
All
problem.
right.
I got my ears out.
Okay. Well.
But I'll holler at y'all.
Yep.
All right. Hey, before
All right,
you
Jonathan, you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah. Hey, before you guys go, though, I want to play something for you that you might not be aware of. The quality's shit poor.
Okay.
Okay. And there's nobody really listening to us. So it doesn't matter. So we're going to go with this here. Let me make sure I got my volumes up. This is quite interesting. And this is what I tell people. He's not as stupid as you think he is.
Collapse is imminent. But we have to stay calm and think of ways to prevent a bank run so we can get ours. Let's ensure that all banks are talking with each other and sharing information in real time using the back channels we set up in October. And let's use the full force of the media to calm the public and to assure them that their deposits are safe. We may not be able to prevent a collapse, but if we work together, we can limit the fallout for us and preserve the continuity of government.
Who was it?
Biden.
Oh, well, back when?
This is recent. This is recent, discussing the banking and what's going on and the preparations that they took, and all banks are to use the back channels as to how to handle everything. So it's all orchestrated. Bingo.
Right.
Just as we talked about it. I got something else though that I want to, before you guys go.
Okay.
You might know this, you might not. I feel it has a lot of relevance. You're not going to have a clarity problem here. But yeah, that's like, when you see everybody talking about no brainer Joe. No, I know two people that work in a kitchen that he was going to, and he was sitting during a party, and they all said it's not the same guy that gets in front of a camera. He speaks with clarity to everybody when he is in front of people he's in front of. His friends, his constituents, so forth. So what he's doing in front of the camera, the narration of Dumb Joe and all that, that's just part of the orchestration of the shit show that they've created. Now, this here is something totally different. But it's Joe again. And I want you to ask yourself, and I'm going to say this for a reason. Who the hell's running Washington? And you'll know why I say it now. Why I have said this when you hear this. All right. Here we go.
Disturbing video that shows Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden discussing what to do and deciding to frame the protesters.
These people have crossed the line by threatening our democracy. I've given a shoot-to-kill order for any breach of the Speaker's lobby. Every one of these maggots must be prosecuted. Yes, I agree. No more protests in our capital.
The video paints
Shoot the
picture
order
of the
kill.
power
Wow.
brokers attempting to spin the narrative.
Is that available via Google search?
It's not just about the
I'll
protesters.
send it to you.
I'd love to have that for an episode of Therapy Range.
To protect their own
Yeah.
interests. We will now show you this video and let you decide for yourself what really happened on that fateful day.
Listen, sweetheart, men hand.
Are you even listening to
Why don't you let me finish?
Congressional staffers were almost killed. I thought I was going to die.
This is an adult discussion.
The public doesn't fear us anymore, and you better Do something.
What am I supposed to do?
Do your fucking job, Nancy.
Alexandria, let's both be patient and respectful of each other's ideas.
Let's take a step back and look at the big picture.
Joe, I don't even have anything to say to you. If we don't make sure those who perpetrated this mayhem are brought to justice, we are all dead.
This was a mostly peaceful protest.
I don't care why they were there. Violence and non-violence.
Who's really running Washington?
Those who showed up to get away with it.
They can't allow protesters to get away with it. They use.
So anyway, yeah, I can get it to Dave, and Dave can get it to you. No problem there. But the one is, it was a leak that was put together through somebody on TikTok that I know. And when I heard it, and I had to listen to it a couple of times, I mean, he speaks with clarity on this whole banking scenario. And that's what's going on there. And this one here, Joe was in the building with Nancy while the orchestration was going on J6. And that's what that was all about. We know that AOC wasn't nowhere near the issue. We all confronted that issue. But she went and was on a live screen TV back to Nancy and Joe sitting in Nancy's office. And she called Nancy out, you know. I mean, you know, dropping the F-bomb on her and everything else. But, you know, maybe something like that's kind of necessary. So this is part of the instrumental of kill Tucker. You know, don't let him get the information on.
So is there more than one Joe, or is it just there's more than one way Joe acts? When Joe's by himself,
Exactly.
he acts like the feeble president.
Yes.
And when the cameras are off and the green screen is dead and there's no mics and recorders that he thinks of, he's
Let me put it to you this. Let me put
I
it to you
hate to
this way,
interrupt,
Dave.
but I need to jump off. The old lady's ready for me to get them steaks cooking.
Get those steaks cooked.
It was great talking with you guys. I look forward to doing it again.
When do people catch Therapy Range, and where do they catch it?
At random on Rumble.
At random on Rumble.
Yep, I got a video that just went up today testing to see how
Random
bulletproof
on the
fire
Random at Rumble
extinguishers
channel.
Yeah, I found out that it takes about 5 fire extinguishers to stop an armor-piercing 30-06.
Oh,
It made
interesting.
for quite the explosion. All
you're
right, guys,
right.
peace out.
All right.
I gotta make.
All right, Paul. Hope to catch you soon. You're always welcome back. Paul Riley, Therapy Range, as he said, on the whenever it shows up on Rumble channel.
That's what he said. Wherever it shows up on Rumble channel.
Whenever it shows up on Rumble channel. I know
I
that
don't
a lot.
even use my Rumble channel. I don't. You know why? The thing is this: the minute you start collecting money, it changes your income tax. I don't want to bother with none of that.
I'm not worried about the
No, that's my.
I know.
You're not. That's just
With
my
Rumble,
thing.
with all of them, with YouTube, if Facebook starts throwing me pennies, or any of these other social media networks start throwing me pennies, I'm not worried about the money because I want to get wealthy and rich and famous and well known. I'm already infamous on social media anyway, so getting paid for it would only make it a job, and if it makes it a job, it's not worth doing.
Right.
But I want Rumble as the alternative to YouTube because I know the next time I go on Rumble and even say the words election fraud, I'm probably getting a 30-day suspension and probably my channel taken away from me. And I don't know why. I'm the small guy on Rumble. I've had it for 10 years. I've been using it for 3, and I have 24 subscribers who never watch on Rumble anyway. They just went over and subscribed to help me reach that magic 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of being watched. So I'm not there for the money. I'm there to get the information out. And if the information one day becomes something that I have to sit down and talk with the IRS about, then I may have to do that. But
I understand. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later then. Go do what you got to do. I'm going to go back and finish my dinner.
Go finish your dinner.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Michael. Always a pleasure to have me on, and it was great having Paul Riley on for the first time, and I hope he'll be on as often as he wants to. Jen Woodruff knows that she's always welcome, and maybe if the 4 of us can be the Monday evening Boogie broadcast crew, and anybody else who's welcome, who wants to join is welcome. we'll do it. I think it was a great Boogie with the Bull broadcast. It was live on Facebook on my Dave Wogan profile and in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. It was live. Both those locations have a live chat, and you can share the broadcast from both of them. It was also on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. It was live on at Boogie WT Bull, the Boogie with the Bull Twitter account on that profile at Boogie WT Bull. We were live there. There is no live chat from there yet. We were live on the American Patriot Social Network. You type in that, as I said it, AmericanPatriotSocial.com, one word that will bring you to American Patriot Social Network. And we were live in the hardcore conservatives group over there on American Patriot Social. We were live here on Facebook in all the groups, American Regulators, the Hardcore Conservatives Group, Conservative Freedom Defenders, Red Patriots for America. We were in Don't Walk, Run Away from the Democrat Party, our new group with Donald Wisman. He set that one up, and we're helping him out with that. Michael Anthony is an admin in there. Jen Woodruff, I think, will become an admin in there. Terry Stark is an admin, and a whole slew of moderators working all the groups from every angle. So if you have been invited to join by one of your friends in any one of those groups, please do, and then invite your friends. And each group has already met its initial setup. Of my 4 private groups, they all started, and they were all 1,000 members when they started. The only one that is under 250 is Conservative Freedom Defenders, which is a very loyal group of people in that group. And if you want to join that group and skyrocket it to a 1,000-member group, a 10,000-member group, a 100,000-member group, even maybe one day a 1,000,000-member group, we hope that will happen. Let's see. And I told you everywhere we were and everything you need to be in on Facebook. I want to thank William Rayfield for watching in the live chat. Let's see. We'll scroll back. Armando Aguilar and Karen Joinson were watching. Jonathan Garcia was watching, and he was on the broadcast. And I think that just about covers it. Our views kind of trickle in a lot of times when Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk broadcasts are on, and then we seem to score more in the podcasts that people watch afterwards. But anyone is welcome to join us, watch us, take the podcast and share it anywhere you can, on Facebook, off of Facebook. And we appreciate it if you do that. And we'll just get the word out to everybody we can every time we come on. As I said, Friday afternoon in the 5 o'clock hour will be the Friday free-for-all. I don't know exactly how late it will go, but it will start in the 5 p.m. Eastern hour and either go till 6, 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock. I'll know in the early afternoon on Friday. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern is the morning weekend Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcast. It's open discussions on what's gone on during the week, what people are doing over the weekend, events that you might want to attend, and hopefully bring group people on to talk about their upcoming groups. May 16th, back in East Palestine, Ohio, or probably over in Nagel, the next city over at the Nagel Fire Department. Snow Mama Official will be back for another distribution drop of donations that were collected. This is an ongoing mission for her. She is one of the heroes of people who actually use social media the right way and help wherever she can around the country. So go to the Soup Mama Official Facebook page and friend it and follow it and share it as much as you can. And hopefully Sharice will join us in the next few days on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast when she has the time. And we will talk about how successful Sunday was, and hopefully start reminding people that she's getting ready to go back on April 16th. On May 13th, over in Loganville, Georgia, Lucretia Hughes is hosting the Faith Over Fear rally, and in a great place. A lot of people can be there. A lot of cool activities and vendors can be there. And we hope to either live stream it or actually be there and live stream it this time, actually be there this time. And Randy Griesenbeck's benefit concert for East Palestine, Ohio, was moved back from April 15th. And if you follow the Patriot Cowboy broadcasts here on Facebook or follow Randy Griesenbeck, you can see the day it was moved back to. It was moved back only because the mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio, wants to team up with everybody that was going to be there, the artists as well, and add some artists that they are welcome to bring to an event. So it will be huge. So all I can tell you is that if you bought a ticket through eventbrite.com for April 15th, do not be afraid that something is not going to happen. Either you'll be notified by Eventbrite that the April 15th was canceled and be welcome to a money back, or it may be communicated that those of you that had bought tickets already for the April 15th benefit concert at the Cove 51 Club in Cincinnati will probably be able to use, I'm sure, I can't say you for definite, but I would imagine if you bought a ticket for April 15th at Cove 51, you will be able to use that ticket at the pushback date. And as I said, if you follow Randy Griesenbeck and the Patriot Cowboy broadcasts here on Facebook, you can get more information. I will try to connect up with Randy. I've been so busy with things on Facebook and other social media networks that I haven't spoken to Randy in the last few days to have all of the knowledge. But I will make sure I get it the next time we go live with a Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcast on Friday. Then I will have that actual factual information for you. It's 7:04, so we're going to wrap up this edition of Boogie with Bull True Patriot Talk. And if you want to be on a broadcast, all you have to do is message me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the 5 o'clock Eastern hour. They start. It's always posted what time they will be in plenty of time. And Saturday at 10 a.m. Anyone who is welcome. The first 7 people, other than me, the first 7 people that get on are on for the entire length of the broadcast, unless we run into that problem where we might have one day more people than we have cameras available for. Then we might have to rotate people. But also a cool thing, if you use StreamYard as your live streamer to wherever you go, I use StreamYard to go wherever I go. So if I link you to my StreamYard for a live stream, while you are on my live stream, we can access all the destinations that you have. So everybody on becomes a big, huge network. So guys, gals, people who use StreamYard and do conservative Patriot broadcasting like I do, or Randy does with the Patriot Cowboy broadcasts, maybe some of us could work together and be available. And in the event of a big time situation, just imagine how many people we could reach on all the destinations that we are on if we were all linked to everybody else's broadcasts, and even special events. We could link our broadcast to everybody else's broadcasts and be able to live stream events from around the country. It would just be wickedly cool, because that's what we're here to do. So I thank everybody for watching tonight's Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk. As I said, next it'll be Friday in the 5 p.m. hour, and Saturday at 10 a.m. are the next ones planned. Not sure what's going on with the 10 a.m.s right now. They're going to kind of take a break because I'm not available to do them right now. And I'm thinking about jumping back on at 7:30 in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with Boogie with the Bull Morning Caffeine. So if you're on Facebook and you're the admin of a group and you would like the broadcast in your group, StreamYard says I can link it to your group, but I have to be listed as an admin in your group. So if you really want it in your groups, then you let me know and we'll make the arrangements so that I can link the broadcast to your group if you wish. Otherwise, like I said, you can watch on the Dave Globin profile and share it from the Dave Globin profile, and you can watch it on the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group broadcast, and you can be in the live chat and you can share as well. I may eventually only drop it on Facebook in the group, the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group, because it just makes it easy. The live chat all comes up on one screen, and I may need to free up a destination. Right now, Facebook has 2, and they really only need 1. So, go out and make it a great evening, and we'll catch you next time on Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk. I'm Dave Globin, you're not, and I want to thank you for the privilege of abusing your time. And this is when we say Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcasts are a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. We own the name Boogie with the Bull. We own the broadcast, and we own everything associated with it. Equal time is given to responsible parties with opposing views. That means if you read something in a live chat, you don't agree with it, or you heard someone on camera say something and you don't agree with it, you have a right to come back and confront that person if they're willing to come back and let you confront them. Otherwise, you just have to deal with it. Other than that, Double B's for victory. This Boogie with a Bull broadcast did come to an end. It was just a hair over 2 hours, which is not bad. Trying to get them down to an hour when we can. Or we're going to just take the 2 hour broadcasts and edit them down to an hour. And in some cases, edit them down to 30 minutes and podcast them on different social media networks. Because I know it's hard to find 2 hours to sit and watch. Also want to thank Danny Campbell, who has watched more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts in the history of Boogie with the Bull than anybody else. And he watches when he can, and we acknowledge him when he can. And if he can't watch it live, he watches it as a podcast, and he puts his comments into the podcast, which people know that you can do. And then they become part of the podcast. And it's very nice to know that. Anyway, I got to go eat dinner. The dog and the cat have to go eat dinner. And enough is enough. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is coming to an end. And